It's 104.9 The X with Jackson here, leading you up to the show tonight at the Apollo Theater in Belvidere as Real Rock Fest has arrived with 10 years and Fozzy headlining. And right now, we are happy to be joined by a guy who, if you don't know him by the songs we play on this station, you know him for kicking ass in a wrestling ring from across the globe. He is Fozzy frontman Chris Jericho. Chris, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, man, excited to be coming to Belvidere. I think it's the first time we've ever played there. And we're really looking forward to it. This whole week has been a really cool kind of a Midwest cornucopia of rock and roll, from Oshkosh to Cadott, Wisconsin, to Peoria last night, to Belvidere tonight. So we've never played any of these places. So it's always cool to go to new cities and new towns that support Fozzy with great radio stations like yours. And it's just going to be a culmination of an awesome rock and roll weekend.
Your band, man, they've been on a roll this year. And you mentioned the touring from Rock USA to Rock Fest, downstate and back up. There's a lot going on. So between the wrestling and the band and the podcast, you keep yourself really busy. What do you do for fun when you have the time? What do you like to do?
You know, I don't do a lot of stuff, away from my kids and away from my family and all that sort of thing, because I spend a lot of time on the road doing a lot of different things. But I also turn down a lot of things and make sure to have that home time, which is so important.
It's 104.9 The X. Jackson here, just taking a few minutes with the front man from tonight's co-headliner. It is Chris Jericho joining us, and they will be on stage tonight a little bit after 8:30. Tickets are available at the door or on thexrockford.com. So it was August of 1999, just before everything was about to crash and the world was in a frenzy over this Y2K thing. So I did what any other kid would want to do during the world ending. Told my parents, you got to take me to go see Monday Night Raw, and it was the first time I ever went. I was lucky enough to go, but little did I know that would be the night of your debut for WWE. So to this day, I'm not sure if I've heard a crowd get any louder than that night at the Allstate Arena. Over the years, you've come back to the area between here and the Allstates, Rockford even. What memories do you have when you come back to town?
Well, I mean, Chicago's a great town, not only for WWE, but for Fozzy as well. I mean, it's always been one of the markets that's just been very excited to see Chris Jericho in anything that I'm doing. So, and this whole area is like that. Like I said, the fact that we haven't played Belvidere before, it's just kind of a technicality because we played everywhere around the Chicago area. So it's one of those cities that whenever you see it on the itinerary, you know it's going to be a great show right off the bat, no matter what. And it's going to be a great crowd. It's going to be hot and sweaty and a good time. So, obviously, I always have fond memories of Chicago from the WWE days and all the way up to the last show we played in Chicago. I don't remember what the venue was called, but we sold it out. So it's just, anything to do with Chicago is just is always a positive experience for me.
It's 104.9 The X. Chris Jericho, nice enough to join us for a few minutes here as we lead you up to Real Rock Fest this afternoon. Over at the Apollo Theater in Belvidere, his band Fozzy is going to be performing along with 10 Years and Wayland, Powerman 5000, and Genotype. Is there another band that you're looking forward to seeing tonight? How well do you know these guys?
We know them all, man. I mean, it's one of those things, whenever you do a lot of shows, especially around the summertime, there's always a lot of festivals. There's always a lot of, radio stations, special shows. I think we just did a couple gigs with Powerman 5000 a few months ago in Florida. I know we did the same thing with 10 Years. I think it was Fozzy, 10 Years, and Powerman. I think we did 3 or 4 shows together in a row. And the last time I saw Wayland was also at a festival, I think Sonic Boom in Janesville, Wisconsin. So you know all these bands. You see them all around. And even though you might not see them for, 6 months or a year, it's always cool to meet up with the dudes that you know and meet new people that you've never met. But the bottom line is it's a great package. It's a great rock and roll show with 4 killer bands. I know there's some great local bands playing too. And that's what I love about the rock radio scene right now is a lot of people will say, rock radio is dead and all these other things. And my response is always, it's not dead. It just doesn't exist in certain markets like Los Angeles or New York or whatever it may be. When you come to Belvidere or Peoria or Oshkosh or Cadott, Eau Claire, it's a thriving scene. And Fozzy only started getting to the next level when we got that elusive radio play. And here we are now 2 top 10 singles later, and our band is all the rage. Everybody wants us to come play with them and come do their radio festivals and all that stuff. So we know how important it is to get the support from the radio, and we know how important it is when you guys put on these shows, and everybody that listens to the station comes by to hang out and have a great time, because that's what it's all about. So it's just another great example of how radio really helps bands like Fozzy get to the next level and stay there.
Well, we are definitely glad to have you in town here tonight. He is Chris Jericho from the band Fozzy, kind enough to join us for a few minutes here on 104.9 The X. Before we go, Chris, is there anything you'd like us to promote where the listener can catch you next?
Like I said, man, the biggest thing is tonight in Belvidere. That's the only thing that needs to be promoted, because that's happening now in your town. So come and check out Fozzy. It'll be one of the funnest, most energetic rock and roll shows you're going to see this year. We don't have dragons flying from the ceiling or pyro going off from the drummer's rear end. We are the show. And if you like a high-energy rock and roll band, think Van Halen in 1979. We leave it all on stage. It's rock and roll with a smile, and we're bringing it to you live tonight in Belvidere.
You can catch them on stage at Real Rock Fest tonight at the Apollo Theater in Belvidere. Doors open at 4:30, and you can get your tickets there, or you can just beat the line by going directly to thexrockford.com. It's been a pleasure, Chris. Have a great show tonight.
All right, I'll see you guys tonight. Thanks.